Welcome back, guys. This is Tough Choice. I am your host, Kazeem Rahman, on the hot seat today. You saw the title. It's Kazeem. It's me. It's me again. We are going to do some Would You Rathers. We're going to go through deep dive. So a lot of you are new here. So what we do here on the solo episodes, the solo dolos, we go deep into every Would You Rather. We go through the pros and cons of each. And then we're going to do some Black Excellence. We might get to What Would You Do's. We might not. So you guys know how it is. We don't really waste no time. The game is Tough Choice. You must pick between the two choices. You must explain yourself. You get one pass, you get one pause. Let's start the show.
Let it begin. Let it begin.
Now, at the end, we always go through our constant choice for the month. Everyone in the month gets the same first question. Would you rather have zits that pop themselves, squirting as much as a ketchup packet, or have zits that crawl all over your face like little ants? Now, let's go through the pros and cons of each. Now, we're going to start with ketchup packet zits. That's just disgusting. That probably is one of the more disgusting would you rathers we've had in a long time. We don't really have a lot of disgusting ones. In the beginning, and listen, go back to episode 15, episode like 5 through 50. This is episode like 298. So episode 5 through 50, it gets a little nasty. It gets a little nasty. So we cleaned it up a little bit. We made it more family friendly, made it more wild than disgusting. So ketchup packet is disgusting. The pros of a ketchup packet is that they're not crawling on your face. And the fact that the zits pop themselves is probably a con rather than a pro. Right now, the pro is like you don't have to worry about having to go pop a zit. Cool. The con would also be most of the zits can be like reduced. You know what I mean? If you put a little like, I know sometimes I'll put like baby powder when I was younger. And I had like bad acne, I would put baby powder on the zit and it would suck up the moisture, suck up the oil. It would reduce the size of the zit, right? And then the zit would disappear. It wouldn't actually need to be popped. But these zits will pop themselves. So, I don't have a lot of big zits. So it's fine. It's not like your zits are going to be, gigantic. The biggest con is that last couple words. As much as a ketchup packet, that's a problem. That's a problem. There's no way that's not a problem. Because if something squirts as much as a ketchup packet. Now, in all fairness, I don't really use ketchup packets because I don't like to tear. I don't like the tear and the squirt and the tear and the squirt and the tear and the squirt because I need a lot of sauce. I'm a sauce guy. So if I'm going to grab a ketchup packet, I'm grabbing like 4 or 5, right? One ketchup packet isn't enough for the fries that I get. But one ketchup packet is a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot to be squirting as much as ketchup packet. And let's be fair. Sometimes we pop zits and they squirt out just a little bit. And sometimes we pop zits and it's like a projectile out into the open. Right? So it's hit or miss. You know what I mean? You're having a conversation. What's going to happen? They pop themselves. I guess you can probably figure out how, I don't know, man. You can probably figure out, like it'll probably take you like 2 months to figure out how your zits specifically work. And then you can probably just stay away from people or wear a mask or wear like a helmet or a visor or wear like really big sunglasses. Be like a diva. You know what I mean? So you can probably figure that out. But ketchup packet, I don't know. Ketchup packet is the one part of that that's like, oof. Ketchup packet is a lot. Now, zits that crawl all over your face. Okay. I don't see a single pro to this. The only pro is that, it doesn't squirt as much as a ketchup packet. Fine. But how many zits are crawling on my face? You know what I mean? Like, that's weird. That's beyond weird. One zit that is just a big zit that I'm looking at, I'll notice a zit and I'll keep talking to the person. But if I notice a zit on the left side of your face, and as we're having our conversation, it moving to the right, that's weird. And I probably don't want to talk to you. Depending on who it is, I'm not talking to you probably for at least a month. It's just too strange for me. And I wouldn't tell anybody. I wouldn't be like, "Oh, you see Candace with the zits that move all over her face?" No, I would mention it. Depending if we're like acquaintances, if we're friends, of course. If we're friends, man, I'm pulling you aside. I'm taking my phone out. I'm taking a video. You know what I mean? I'm posting it to the gram, right? I need the views. So it's just gonna be one of those things where it's like, yo, you're my content now. Get over it. But I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to do, because there's no pro. There's cons beyond cons with the zits that crawl all over your face. It's a little too distracting, right? But there is no spontaneity. I don't know how to spontaneity. I don't know how to. I didn't go to college for real. So I don't know that word. But there's too much surprise in the ketchup packet one. There's way too much surprise, because if the zits are just crawling around your face, I can still have a close conversation. It's gonna be a little weird, but I can still have a close conversation. And my close friends are still gonna know who I am. They're gonna know my character. They're gonna know my heart. I'm not making many new friends with zits that crawl over my face, but my old friends aren't going nowhere, right? But with the ketchup packet, I'm going to lose at least 4 people in my life, right? Because it's just going to look weird. There's going to be, because come on, zits aren't just the pus, it's the blood and pus. So it can't be, man, I got to go with the zits that crawl. Blood and pus is too much. And as much as a ketchup packet, that's a lot, right? And you can pray and hope that it only happens in your home, but we know what's going to happen. Right? I'm a stand-up comedian still. I still do the road, right? I'm going to be in San Diego. I'm going to be in El Paso. I'm going to be in San Francisco. I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be on the move. After my show, I'm talking to a fan, and then suddenly my zit pops. And what if they want to take a quick picture? Suddenly my zit pops. They're trying to take a selfie with me? Nah. I'm going to take these zits that crawl over my face. I'm going to figure it out. And one thing that no one really tried to discuss is the fact that, listen, I don't get a lot of zits that much. And since I am an adult now and I know my body, I can just stay away from foods that give me zits. Right? No more milk. Dairy's not very good for me and my zits. Right? Almond milk only. Right? I try to stay away from soy. And then I'm kind of good. I try to keep my pores clean. Right? I wash my face, wash my hands. I don't really just touch my face with my hands. If I've just been out, I wash my hands first, wash my hands a good amount of time. I don't really get a lot of zits. So no one really spoke on that. So even if I have zits that crawl over my face, the zits that crawl are going to be really small, really tiny, right? And I can still put like the little powder on my face to make them like really small. So the crawl over my face won't be that bad if you really do a deep dive on this. So my final choice for the constant choice is I'm going to just go ahead and do zits that crawl over my face. All right, that was our constant choice this was the last constant choice for the year. So thank you guys, man. That was actually the zits that crawl over my face was a audience submission one where it was like a would you rather, and I was going to use it for one of our audience submission questions, but I just liked it. So keep keep sending them in. toughchoice@outlook.com. That is toughchoice@outlook.com. Let us continue. Would you rather always be running 2 hours late or wear a bike helmet at all times? If I'm always running 2 hours late, that's hard. That's hard. I'm trying to think. 2 hours is a lot. 2 hours is a lot. For context, 2 hours is this. I'm supposed to be at breakfast with you at a coffee shop at 10 a.m. and I don't show up till noon. Think of it that way. If we just say 2 hours, a lot of times people don't have a good grasp of what 2 hours means. 2 hours is a lot of time. 2 hours is a lot of time. 2 hours is a whole movie. Think about that. 2 hours is a whole movie. 2 hours, but then do I want to wear a bike helmet at all times? A bike helmet, not a motorcycle helmet. A bike helmet is just on your head and it stops at your ears and your eyebrows, right? It's just like a bowl cut, kind of like that. Bike helmet all times. I mean, it's going to be weird too, but I would rather wear the bike helmet. I would rather be weird than be unprofessional, because if you're 2 hours late, you're going to miss out on a large amount of opportunities. A large amount. Because I can't have a meeting with Netflix or HBO or NBC or Warner Brothers or CBS, right? We speaking everything into existence today. Let's go. We just gonna speak everything into existence. I can't have a meeting with them and be like, okay, listen. So let's schedule it for 12, but just plan for me to be there at 2 because I'm always 2 hours late. No, they're not gonna like that. But if I'm just the guy that wears a bike helmet at all times, I'm just that guy. I'm just the guy that does that. So I would rather be weird than unprofessional. That should be a new rule for Tough Choice. Would you rather let drunk old people play dominoes on your naked body, all right? Or watch every single episode of The Big Bang Theory nonstop, 250 episodes. Now, both of these are one time. And as I'm talking, I'm going to look up how long 250 episodes. Every episode is like 30 minutes long. So 250 times 30, all right, 30 minutes, that's 7,500 minutes. Divided by 60, which is an hour, that's 125 hours. Right? Let's divide that by 24. That's only 5 days. 5 days and some change. 5 days and some change you're watching Big Bang Theory. Or just let drunk old people play dominoes on my naked body. Is it my chest? Or is it like my whole body? Well, it says naked body. We know what it means. It means no clothes. That's what it means. It don't mean nothing else. Okay. This is going to sound weird, but it really depends on what type of old people we're talking about. All right. And I'm not going to lie to you. It depends on the race, right? If it's black, drunk old people, the way black people play dominoes, how do I say this nicely? We're not nice about it. We slam the dominoes on the table every time. Every time. You could just get 10 and I'm still slamming the domino on the table. So imagine if you get 30 or 35. I'm still slamming the dominoes on the table. If it's just like nice old ladies, they're just a little tipsy, well, no, it says drunk. They're just drunk and they're nice old like Hispanic ladies or Asian women, right? They're probably going to want to have a conversation with me while they're playing, right? Going to ask me if I have a girlfriend, ask me what school I went to, right? Ask me where my parents are from, stuff like that. I think I think I'm gonna let the people play dominoes on my naked body. I'm not telling a soul, and I'm gonna make sure everyone's phones are locked up because that's just weird. But 5 days straight, you have to watch Big Bang Theory. There's 250 episodes of Big Bang Theory, and you're telling me that I would have to watch 5 days straight, every single episode of Big Bang Theory nonstop for 5 days, right? And of course, listen, of course, we're not stupid, we're not insane. You can stop for the restroom, you can stop to eat. If you fall asleep, okay. But as soon as you wake up, boom, back to Big Bang? Nah, 5 days straight. And a game of dominoes is only like an hour. If anything, a game of dominoes actually isn't, I wouldn't say it's even like an hour. I would say a game of dominoes, low key, it's only like 30 minutes. 30, 40 minutes. We played dominoes during lunch. We'll play 2 games during lunch, right? So it's like 30 minutes. 30 minutes versus 5 days straight. 30 minutes of mild uncomfortability, which is not a word, but we're making it a word today. 30 minutes of me being uncomfortable versus 5 hours of a show that I genuinely did not like. I didn't like Big Bang Theory. I'll say it right now. What are they gonna do? The show's been off the air for years, right? It was not funny to me. Didn't enjoy it. I've seen a couple episodes on planes, but I'm good. I'm good on that. No, thank you. Right? So I'm gonna get uncomfortable. I'm just gonna pray that they're just nice old ladies that don't like still have their banging strength. You know what I mean? Like don't have upper body strength to like really bang a domino on a table. Ain't nobody trying to get a domino banged on my chest just because you scored. No, thank you. Would you rather everywhere you go for 3 years, you trigger a natural disaster or take a year-long vow of silence? This might be the constant choice for next month. This is a good one. This is good. Everywhere you go for 3 years, you trigger a natural disaster or take a year-long vow of silence. Okay, this is definitely going to be the constant choice for next month. So I'm going to have to pass on this one. It sucks to say I'm going to have to pass. I kind of know what I want, but it's interesting. I'll dive into it, but I won't make a decision because we're going to discuss this next month. Everywhere I go for 3 years, natural disaster. So earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, tropical storms for 3 years, everywhere I go, right? Eventually, my friends are going to have conspiracies. I'm going to know what's going on, right? So if I'm in California, there's an earthquake. If I'm in Houston, there's a hurricane. If I'm in Louisiana, there's a tropical storm. When I'm in New York, suddenly there's a snowstorm. When I'm in Canada, there's another snowstorm. When I'm in Hawaii, there's a natural disaster. I mean, I guess a forest fire can technically be a natural disaster. A lot of those are caused by man, are caused by accident, right? You know, sometimes it's extreme heat, extreme dry weather, and then lightning strikes or something like that. But that's most forest fires are actually caused by humans on accident. So we'll see. Sometimes on purpose, but that's another conversation. Now, if I take a year-long vow of silence, that means no podcast for a whole year. And I know that's going to devastate a lot of you. You know what I mean? That's going to devastate a lot of people if we can't pod for a whole year. But I also think a year-long vow of silence will do me some good. If I'm just not talking and I'm just listening to everybody, right? Then I get a new perspective every single day on just what I'm listening to. That's a very good question. We're going to skip it. We're going to skip it because this is going to be the constant choice of the month of January 2024. And I'm confident about this one. All right. Now, let's play some Black Excellence.
Perfect.
This is the last Black Excellence of the year. So, I'm going to pose a situation. A title, not a situation, a thing, right? And I'm going to tell you whether I think it is more likely to be 6-time NBA champion Michael Jeffrey Jordan or 4-time NBA champion new billionaire LeBron Raymond James, who would intentionally make their form of birth control ineffective. The cockiness, what does that mean? Okay. Who would poke a hole in their own condom? That's essentially what we're saying. I think it would be LeBron. I think LeBron is more likely to do that only because let's say him and Savannah break up and he meets this like 6'7" Romanian woman and he's like, oh, I need me another ball player. Right? Bronny Jr. is already in the league, right? His other son Bryce is already in the league, and he's like, let me get one more ball player. And she's gonna be like, oh no, I don't want any kids. And he's like, don't worry about it. I see LeBron poking a hole. Jordan, he's done. He's done with kids. He's done. I don't know how many kids he has. Pretty sure he has like 5. He either has 4 or 5. I think he's done. LeBron only has 3. I'm pretty sure LeBron wants like one more. LeBron looks like he wants one more. So I'm assuming it'd be LeBron James. Who believes money can buy happiness? Michael Jeffrey Jordan. End of discussion. Who brings an umbrella on days with a 10% chance of rain? LeBron would do that. LeBron would bring his Gucci umbrella everywhere. LeBron would bring his Gucci umbrella if it rained in the morning and they said it's clear skies all day. He would still bring the Gucci umbrella. LeBron looks like a guy who would do some weird shit like that. Who has trimmed their pubes into a design? LeBron, Raymond, James. Who's more vain? Who's more vain? That's what it means. Who wants to look in the mirror and be like, I like myself today. That's LeBron looks like he would say some shit like that to the mirror. You're kind, you're wise, right? Jordan just knows. Jordan probably doesn't even have any mirrors in his house. Have you seen the way he dresses? I don't think Jordan has a single mirror in his house. LeBron definitely has mirrors all over his house, all over his kitchen, all over his living room. Right? He probably has a full-size mirror in the garage right before he heads out, right? So I'm pretty sure LeBron would do something like that. Who has tried to use something other than a condom as a condom? Jordan is from the 80s, man. Right? He was a star in college. He was a star in the NBA in the 80s and the 90s. I'm pretty sure he's done some things. Pretty sure he's cut the fingers off of a glove before. I'm pretty sure. Right? So I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I'm saying. Right? The 80s was a wild time. 80s was a wild time. Right? Who tries really hard to hide their racism? That's hard. That's hard. I don't think either of them are racist per se. I will say LeBron definitely has a better PR team than Michael Jordan. So I would say if either of them are racist, let me not say try hard, but I think LeBron would make sure that his public persona is seen as someone who loves love, who loves life, sanctity of life, things like that. He would try to hide his racism way harder than Michael Jordan. I don't think Michael Jordan would care if he was racist. I think he would make a statement and then he would go on about his day. Right? I don't think he would be like, oh, well, I have to choose my words wisely. Nah, Michael Jordan is too old for that. Who would keep their composure during a life-threatening natural disaster? Michael Jordan. LeBron looks like he would lose his mind. LeBron looks like he would push at least two of his kids out the way and save his wife, of course, but he would definitely push at least two of his kids out. Actually, no. Jordan would be calm, but he'd also Jordan would push all of his kids out the way. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. LeBron would be losing his mind because he would want to save his kids. Jordan would be calm because he would just push them out the way and go on about his day. Last one. Who would try to pay for sex and spare change? LeBron is notoriously cheap. He's very open about it, right? He looks like he would, listen, spare change to them, they're both billionaires. Spare change to them is just finding a bag full of ones, right? And the ones are just like $10,000, right? And it's just all ones. That's spare change to them. Who would rather do that? Who would give you a duffel bag full of ones? I think it's more likely to be LeBron James, right? Because he would also try to use that as like a duffel bag. It'd be a fake Gucci duffel bag, but right, he's still very cheap. So it would be a fake Gucci duffel bag, but it would still be a duffel bag full of ones. So, all right, that was Black Excellence.
Perfect.
Now, last one, and then we'll wrap up. Would you rather leave the country and never return for the remainder of your life? Oof. Or reveal your first impression of everyone the moment you see them for the second time? This is hard. It's not hard. I will say that. It's only hard because you have to do the second time. You have to do the first impression second time. You can't do leave the country, right? There is no pro in leaving the country for the remainder of your life. Now, yes, you can live in Canada, but when it says leave the country and words matter, because I'll repeat it again. First option, leave the country and never return. Never return means never return, even for trips, even for visits, even to see your loved ones. No, you're gone and you are never coming back. They can come see you, but you may not come see them. You can live in Canada. You can live in Mexico, right? You can technically live in like the British Virgin Islands, right? Like off the coast, something. You can live in Jamaica, right? Maybe Cuba, but you can no longer live in the United States. That is rough. That would be rough. That would be a culture shock, right? You would probably just move to London. Honestly, you got to just move to London and hustle your way up, right? Hopefully you have a trade. Hopefully you can, become a mechanic or something like that. You got to figure it out. But if you reveal your first impression of everyone the moment you see them for a second time, that, I promise you, is probably going to be more detrimental than you realize. Right? Because most of the time, it's a 50-50 split of whether you have a positive first impression or a negative first impression. I think this definitely depends on who you are as a person, right? Because I'm genuinely a nice person, right? Generally, right? I get along with most people. I don't really have any ill will. So first impressions to me are just I'm meeting you. I'm just getting to know you. I don't have an impression of you, which is the perfect one. But if you're the type of person that, and this is perfectly fine to be this type of person, if you're the type of person that knows whether or not you like someone within the first 30 minutes of meeting them, then this decision could be a little dicey for you. This decision could be a little dicey for you because, man, if you didn't like them and you meet them for the second time, you'd be like, you know what, Catherine, I didn't really like you when I first met you, but now I do, right? That's the only workaround I see from that. You tell them your first impression. If it's positive, be like, I knew I liked you from the first time I met you because the first time I met you, I liked you. But if you didn't like them, just make sure you make it positive. You say, well, you know what, Jim, I don't know what I'm choosing literally the most generic white names, but you know what, Jim, I really like you. But now I absolutely love you because the telling them your first impression of them is the truth. But immediately after, you have to lie. You have to lie, especially if it's not positive still. If it's still a negative impression of them, you're gonna have to lie and be like, I didn't really like you, but now I do. That's a lie, but who cares? Who cares? Just live your life. All right, guys, that is our episode. This has been Tough Choice with Kazeem Rahman. You can find me online at Kazeem Comedy. That's Kazeem Comedy. Like, share, subscribe to this podcast. We are growing and we love it. If you have a tough choice question or a hire, fire, retire you want us to consider, email toughchoice@outlook.com. That is toughchoice@outlook.com. Next episode will be the last episode of the year, and we're going to do something a little special. We're going to go through a lot of your audience submissions. So keep coming. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. We have a whole database. Our producers are going through them now to kind of pick the more interesting ones. Some of you guys send in some really simple ones. So it's like, oh, would you rather be invisible or would you rather fly? I'm going to take the flight. End of discussion. That's not even hard. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to send a question, feel free to send whatever questions you want, but just know that we're almost at 300 episodes. So it's like I've been doing this for a very long time, and I'm really good. So send me some ones that are wild and crazy, and send them to toughchoice@outlook.com. I've been Kazeem Rahman. You guys have been amazing. Bye.